Good evening and welcome to the first Beyond the Front Page show for the fall 2025 semester here at Cayuga Community College. This is a show that's broadcast on Spectrum, Verizon Fios, the Auburn Regional Media Access, better known as ARMA, as well as Win 89.1, the college's radio station. I'm your host, Guy Cosentino. We are delighted to have in the studio today the new Executive Director of the Cayuga County United Way, Julisa Kaminski, and the Campaign and Marketing Manager, Julisa, I was going to muck up the last name, but Julisa Stone-Szpaicher, who has been with us a couple times to talk about the United Way campaign and what's going on as you dive full in this fall. So welcome back to you. Congratulations on your new job.
Thank you.
So let's talk about campaign basics. You kicked off the campaign 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How much are you trying to raise this year?
$600,000, but we're also still focusing, like we did last year, on the number of donors. So our goal is 1,700 donors, which is an increase of about 75 people.
And when you do something like that, is there an average size of a donor gift?
There is an average size. It's usually about $100, but the size of the gift isn't what we're focusing on. We really want to just grow the United Way family by getting more people involved and invested in what we do and what our member agencies do. So a gift can be, $5. It can be payroll deduction. It can be stocks. If you want to call Lisa, and she'll get you set up with that.
Okay. And so last year when you were on with your predecessor, last year you did not set a dollar goal, correct? You had a goal of number of people to give. How much did you raise last year?
We raised $642,000, which was an increase over the year before.
Okay. So why are you at a lower target this year?
Just looking at the economy and looking at the changes that are happening to our community. A lot of people are turning more and more to those resources for food security. And then just some internal changes with our operating, just wanting to make sure we had a realistic goal for this year.
So on that particular one, I know you're going to have a not-for-profit training on Thursday, the 2nd.
Yes.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. But you've now been here for 2 months. We'll get into your past background in a second. But are you hearing from agencies now of what they are foreseeing as critical needs because of what has come? And I'm not either supporting or criticizing, but you have obviously it's commonly known as the big beautiful bill. Does have a trickle-down effect to agencies. Are any of your agencies telling you anything at this particular stage?
At this point, they haven't shared anything in relation to any legislation that recently passed or is coming in the future. They have shared with me some of their most pressing concerns in the community: homelessness, childcare, food security. So they have shared their most pressing needs, not in relation to any legislation, but just what they see as what's coming up most importantly in the next coming months.
And so what's different this time around is you're going to a 2-year cycle.
Yes.
So explain what you were doing and now what you are going to do.
So previously we did 1-year cycles, so you would apply for funding each year. And then last year we were looking at restructuring, trying to make it easier for agencies and the community to understand what we're doing and to make sure we're getting out those dollars. We transitioned to a 2-year cycle. So all of the agencies who applied during January around this year for our July to June funding cycle, they were told that it was a 2-year application. It coincided with our complete brand refresh. We have new messaging and new goals as a United Way, part of the overarching organization. And so now we're about a quarter of the way through the 2-year funding cycle. So all the agencies who are awarded this year, they are going to be our same agencies who are receiving the dollars that we're actively raising next funding cycle.
So in some of those cases, you will not know if they have seen an uptick in need, let's say at the end of the year. I've been talking to some people in philanthropy. They are starting to see people say, hey, we're going to come back to you in January. This would now carry them through the summer of 2027.
yes. But
Okay.
the funding amount will be determined based on how much we can raise. So they're,
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll get to that in a second, but what I'm talking about is need could go up, and you just
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know it
Yes.
at this stage.
oh yeah.
Does that mean that you will be putting money in reserve, or you're not at that stage yet?
I think that's gonna depend on the campaign this year and results of that, and we'll look to that. Our agency relations committee would look to the next year's funding.
And you kicked off, like I said, this month, you kicked off the campaign. When does the campaign, people remember the old days, which was, it was a silent campaign during the summer, agencies couldn't raise any money, starting, July and August through the end of the year, and then the campaign ended usually around December 15th. What's your schedule now?
What's the last day,
I believe
Julisa?
it's February, Thursday, I think it's February 26th is the last day that we're closing everything at 4 o'clock that day.
Okay, and why then?
So that when our funding agency, our funding agency relations committee, they start doing the application reviews. So even though we're not taking new
They
applications,
will make the hard choices.
They'll make the hard choices, but if by shifting up, because the last few years it was going into mid-March, and everyone starts making those funding decisions and meeting with panels before we have a final total. So now by shifting our end date up, our volunteers will be able to know what that allocation amount is going into all of their interviews with the
Okay.
agencies, because they do have to do a mid-year check-in. January timeframe, our volunteers will go out and talk to the agencies, see where they are. And then, of course, we do biannual reporting, too, to see what those upticks will be for need.
And so one of the other changes that's been made now is that you have and I may be using the wrong term, but you have a more regional campaign in Cayuga County.
Yes.
Can you walk us back a little bit and tell us what that's all about?
So in 2022, we had our 100th anniversary, and part of that was a museum exhibit at the Cayuga Museum of History and Art. And while doing all the research, we realized when we first went countywide in '48, there were chairs and representatives throughout all parts of Cayuga County. And so in celebration of that anniversary in 2023, of 75 years being countywide, we brought that back on a smaller scale. We don't have representatives in every part of the county, but we do have County North. So that is, it's Jenny Bartholomew. She's a Port Byron resident, so she represents the North. Representing the Central is Brian Jesse. He's with the Auburn Fire Department.
Okay.
And his wife is representing County South. She's actually a Moravian native and works with Cayuga County 911. And
So
then,
what are their I'm sorry, is there another zone
Yep, there's
too?
one
Oh,
more.
okay.
And then for the business community, we've got Joanna Belinsky. She and her husband own Auburn Crane and Rigging.
Okay, so in those particular cases, are they the campaign chairs?
Yes.
Okay, so it's where it used to be John Boodleman, Gary Finch, the staple. I can go through a whole list of people for decades. These are individual chairs for zones then.
Right. But they all work together
Okay.
to make sure that everything stays cohesive. And they help with getting us connections in the different areas because we do serve all of Cayuga County.
And that doesn't mean that if one zone outperforms another zone, that zone that outperforms gets all the money.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, can we take a second and just talk
Sure.
about you?
Sure.
Okay, because you've been in the job since what? April 1st, roughly?
August 5th.
I'm sorry, August 1st.
5th.
August 5th.
Yes.
Okay, so you've got a wealth of information about the United Way, so we won't talk about that. Where'd you come from?
I previously worked for Girl Scouts and I-10 Pathways.
And that's based out of where?
Well, they're based out of a lot of different locations. They have 6 different offices, so there's no really one central office. The closest office to Cayuga County is the Seneca Falls office location.
And before that, though, it was named something different when you were with them.
Yes, it was. It began as 5 separate councils. The council that I worked for was Seven Lakes Girl Scout Council.
And when did you start with them?
2001.
And what did you do for them?
I started as a field director, and so I was responsible for working with Cayuga County, Wayne County, Seneca County, and my primary responsibility was recruiting new youth and volunteers into the organization.
And that's when you had a camp out on Owasso
Yes.
Lake.
Yes. Yeah, Iwano. Yep.
And where do Girl Scouts camp now?
We have camp. Well, I say we because I was there for so long.
Okay.
But Girl Scouts and Ipen Pathways.
I'm assuming Pathways is still a United Way agency of Cayuga County.
Yes, they are.
And they're going to be
Yes.
very hopeful that
Yes.
you are still
Yes.
connected to them.
Yes. So Girl Scouts and Ipen Pathways has 4 different camp locations, and they have
Where's the closest one?
Camp
for here?
Hoover, which is in Tully.
Okay. And so where did you grow up?
I grew up in the Albany area. I grew up in Amsterdam, New York.
So how'd you end up in Central New York?
I moved to Central New York for my Girl Scout job.
Oh, okay. Where'd you go to school?
I went to school at St. Rose.
Okay. And what was your major?
I majored in communications for my undergrad degree, and I have a master's degree in educational psychology.
So again, you've been there literally
Yes.
a little less than 60 days.
Yes.
You were somewhat familiar with Cayuga County United Way
Mm-hmm.
because you're a member agency. What have you found either at the United Way that stands out for you, or for the agencies you've already started? Because I'm assuming you've started to meet with
Yes,
agencies.
yes. I had a meeting with member agencies to gather together to get to know one another. And for those that couldn't attend that, I've been trying to schedule times to go out to their locations and meet them and see their locations and chat with them about their needs and, you know, what's happening in their worlds. I think that what's most striking, and I have a lot of background with United Way from the member agency side of things, so I was real familiar with Cayuga County United Way because I worked with them closely when I, you know, in my Girl Scout role, as well as other United Ways. But I think what's most striking to me is like the collaborations between the agencies, and how United Way is kind of like the umbrella that gathers everyone together.
All United Ways, or you're seeing it here locally?
Yes. When I worked with local United Ways.
Okay.
I worked with United Way of Cayuga County. I worked with United Way
So
of
you've
Wayne
seen it
County.
here.
Yes, locally.
Again, 60 days, not to harp on that. Do you have any short-term or long-term goals that you have talked to the board about of what you see for the agency?
I chatted with the board, you know, during my interview process about what their priorities were and what they'd like to see happen, and I think that we are going to try to place a focus on growing our programs that we offer in the community and building and strengthening our relationships with our member agencies as well as the business community and the larger community.
So let's talk about 3 programs you do.
Yes.
One is we mentioned on Thursday the 2nd, you're having your not-for-profit summit. What is that?
The Not-for-Profit Summit is a collaboration between United Way of Cayuga County and Catalyst Cayuga, and we are offering a day of workshops and networking for not only the not-for-profit community, but really anyone who has an interest in the workshops that we're putting on or networking with the not-for-profit community.
So who comes to this? Is it just executive directors, is it members of the board?
Anyone, executive directors, staff of not-for-profits, board members, the business community, if they wanted to send staff. Could
Where is it
attend.
going to be at?
It's going to be at the Lodge.
Okay, and the old Welch Allen
Yes, yes.
location. And any idea how many people are attending at this stage?
We have 74 people attending today.
Pretty good number.
Yes.
A lot of new executive directors in the area
There
besides
are.
yourself.
Yes, I've been meeting some of the new executive directors. So.
What's the agenda for Thursday?
We'll have breakout sessions in the morning and the afternoon. Folks got to choose, you know, their top choices of what those breakout sessions would be. We have some on fundraising, grant writing, AI in the not-for-profit world, and just do you remember?
Building resilient staff
you.
cultures.
Okay. Explain that one.
So it's going to be led by Kate Pudlong and Dr. Matthew Davidson about staff wellness and how to increase morale, make sure that staff, you know, has the resources that they need.
Because not-for-profit work is not easy.
No.
Because you're dealing with dwindling resources to start
Yes.
with, but usually spiking demand.
Growing needs and smaller resources.
Okay. So another program that you have been very involved in fact, it's still ongoing, has been this issue of personal needs. You do a personal needs drive. What is that?
So the countywide personal care drive is a collaboration with the community at large. So we have locations for community members to drop off hygiene items, so toiletries, sanitary napkins, dish soap, facial tissues, those things that aren't covered by assistance programs and are often considered luxury items by many in our community. But we partner. We've got base locations in all the major villages, and in the city of Auburn, there's two.
So where in the
base
city,
bases.
for example, can you drop them off?
So the major bases are Wegmans and actually the Chamber of Commerce. So the first floor of our
First
building.
floor of 2 State Street. Any other locations you want to mention that are out there that?
Oh, we've got Bayside and Fairhaven, Edmond Jeans and Port Byron, Kinney Drugs and Weed Sport, Union Springs Supermarket, King Ferry Corner Store, and Modern Market in Moravia.
And what's your goal of to collect how many items?
We want to increase what we did last year. So last year we collected 2,300 items. We are going for 3,000 this year because it's a growing need in our food pantries. We've started hearing back asking when the food shelters and the pantries will expect to get these items. And actually, 2 of our new member agencies, they've asked if they can be added to the list because that's part of what they do with their programs is they give out those hygiene items.
And this goes till when?
It ends on October 13th.
So you got roughly 2 weeks to still
Yeah.
give, and you can. So if you go to Wegmans, can you pull something off the shelf, pay for it, and just drop it in
Yeah.
a bin? And in Wegmans, because I think that's where most people who watch this, where's the bin at Wegmans? Do you know?
It's at the front of the store behind the cash registers, kind of like between the main doors and that side sneak exit by their accounting windows.
Okay, by the where you can get ice and things like that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned 2 new agencies. How many member agencies are there?
There are 28 member agencies this year, next year.
Okay, and so are you adding anybody?
We have 5 new agencies. Well, 4 of them are brand new, and this, so we've got Child Care Solutions, Harriet Tubman Liberation Foundation, St. Peter and John Episcopal Church Soup Kitchen, and Matthew House. Matthew
So
House.
the last 2 are well known because people can understand. The first 2, the may not. Child Care Solutions is an information and referral agency, correct?
So what we're supporting them with is a new initiative, is a quality improvement program, and it's something that's been very successful out in Onondaga County, and so they're piloting it here, and it is information, it's training, it's specifically they're doing small grants to help improve the quality of the child care centers.
So just for those who may not know what Child Care Solutions is, as I understand it, it is an agency that helps providers.
Yes.
Yes.
Everything that comes up with regulations, licensing, making sure people get the information. So they're a little bit different than, say, the Salvation Army, or St. Peter and Paul, that'll make sure somebody gets fed.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about this Harriet Tubman Liberation? I haven't heard of that group. What do they do?
So the program that we fund with them is called Safe and Warm, and they have a base in the Westminster Presbyterian Church. So every Friday, Roast and Toast actually donates the bread, and they've got volunteers at the Skaneateles Church who make sandwiches and bag them for them. They bring it to Westminster Presbyterian Church.
So direct services.
Yeah,
in that
and they give
particular-
out food.
How often do you add, and how often do agencies drop out? And do they drop out? Let's go with how often do you add agencies first?
Well, we just switched to the 2-year cycle, so every 2 years, all agencies have to apply. Even though we've got some agencies who've been with us since 1922, they still have to apply every year, and the volunteers make those funding decisions, and it goes through a few different levels of volunteers before those decisions are made.
And we won't get into who's dropped off, but in the 2 cases of the 2 that have dropped off, is that because they just didn't want to apply for money or didn't want to comply with the United Way regulations, or were they asked to leave?
Well, one of them was they didn't apply for this year,
Okay.
and that happens sometimes.
Makes life easier.
Yeah. And then the other one, because we were working with about $50,000 less than what we were the year before for allocations, we had to make some really tough decisions. So we had a lot of applications come through, and unfortunately, it didn't fit into our budget for the program that they wanted to fund. But with that said, the program still exists. Like, one of the questions that they ask is, if you don't get United Way funding, will this program exist? And it does.
Okay.
So that's why.
We should cover, because I want to cover a couple of other programs that you have. How does somebody donate to you?
There's a lot of ways to donate.
Okay.
So you can visit unitedwayofcayugacounty.org. We've got a donate button right on our website. You can mail or drop a check
So go
off.
to the donate online first.
Yeah.
So if I say I want to give you $100, you said your average donation is about what?
It's about 100.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you want to donate $100, which is great, goes to the agencies. Can I designate, when I go to that website, can I designate what agency I want to give the money to, or an area?
You can designate to a focus area. So that was part of our brand refresh and part of the change in switching to a 2-year cycle. So we've got 4 pillars. I know we've talked about them before, but they all have new names.
Okay, so go ahead.
So we've got community resilience. So this was more commonly known as the safety net needs before. So this is where you still see like transportation services, and things like that. And then we've got youth opportunities, which used to be education. Education encompassed any type of education program for adults and children. Youth opportunities is only for individuals from birth until 21 years of age.
So YMCA, Boy
Yep.
Scouts, Girl Scouts, things of that nature, correct?
So the only one who left that category was literacy volunteers. So they moved over to community resilience as part of that, helping people improve in their careers. The third area is healthy communities. So this one used to just be health, but when United Way started the rebrand, they looked at like what consists of a healthy community, making sure people are fed. So like the Salvation Army, who used to be in safety net needs, all those feeding programs, they've now shifted to healthy communities. And then also expanding on that, we have the potential to fund programs that support our land and water as well, because if we don't have healthy water, we don't have healthy communities. And then the last area is financial security, which is pretty much exactly the same, except it's security instead of stability.
Okay, and so I go and I want to go into those 4 areas, so I can do that on the website. How else can I can walk a check down to 2 State Street. You're next to Nash's, your Chamber of Commerce is your landlord at 2 State Street. I'm sure they'll take a check in the front door, or pennies, quarters, and dimes, correct?
Right.
So you can do that.
Yep.
How else can you donate?
And then you can also, if you want to do stocks or some of your investments, that's something that Lisa is able to coordinate with our Tompkins representative to, because we get a couple of gifts like that through
There are
the
people
stocks.
who are at a certain age that they have to do these minimum distributions.
Yep.
And then you can take that money in, and it's valued at that donation. Do you get a lot of that?
We're seeing more of it now, actually, especially as longtime donors are starting to retire. They're looking at those finances, so we're getting more of that.
Unfair question, but do you have an average age of what your average donor is?
We don't track that information,
Okay.
so we don't know.
Okay. So those are ways you can donate. I know you're also doing within the system, you have also been working with students, and what are you doing with students right now in the United Way? You have a program for them.
We do. We have 2 programs right now where we're working with students in the Auburn School District. We have our Student United Way, which is a program in partnership with the Auburn High School. And it's an after-school club where they learn about United Way, board relations, community relations. They help do service projects with us.
Do they help raise money?
They do not help raise money. They
Okay.
do service, collecting hygiene items for other students in the
Okay.
school district. And this year they are going to help us kind of look at and review some of our community building mini grants too.
And has that spread out to other districts, or still
It
right
hasn't
now
yet.
in Auburn?
Right now, it started a couple years ago, and right now we are just in Auburn School District, but we are having conversations this year with some other districts to kind of see if there's interest in starting a couple clubs in some other districts throughout the county.
And so you expect a year from now you will be in other
Yes.
districts?
Yes.
Because those are the donors that you're going to have to groom.
And yes, and our volunteers too, our future volunteers too. And we also have our Book Buddies program, and that is with Genesee and Herman Elementaries, where an adult mentor goes in to do reading to increase literacy skills with our second graders in Auburn School District.
And how long has that program been around for?
Just a couple years.
And do you see that expanding outside of Auburn?
Absolutely. It expanded just this year to 2 schools, so next year we're hopeful that we'll have 3, 4, or 5 schools.
All right. 30 minutes goes really fast.
Yes.
So before we do that, I want to ask the one question I always ask the United Way director.
Okay.
Tell the person at this camera over there, and this gentleman over there,
All right.
why should somebody give to the United Way?
I think that United Way is really the connector. I said before that we were like the umbrella that gathers people together. So United Way is the connector that gathers together schools, businesses, volunteers, donors, and makes sure that your dollars have the most impact in Cayuga County.
And you leverage that campaign goodwill to impact more people.
Yes.
Do you have any idea how many people are impacted by the United Way in Cayuga County?
60%.
60%.
Yep.
Fairly high number.
And that was an increase of 5% over last year.
We're going to have you back in the spring. We're going to talk about other things, 211, and other things that are important that the agencies are doing, but we do urge people to give to the United Way. Our guests have been the new Executive Director, Lisa Kaminski, and Campaign and Marketing Manager, Julisa Stone-Szpaicher. I want to thank you both for joining us today, and good luck with the campaign.
Thank you.
We will be back on Thursday with back-to-back interviews with New York State Assembly Minority Leader Will Barkley will be here, as well as the Cayuga County Office for the Aging's Executive Director, Brenda Wyman, will be here to talk about how her agency helps people in our community. This fall, and this is the only time we'll do this, we'll give you a real quick rundown. We have guests coming on from including Assemblyman John Lamondes, Cayuga County Sheriff Brian Skank, Cayuga County District Attorney Brittany Noam Antonacci will be here. We'll also have Dr. Archer will be here next week to talk about vaccinations. We have Auburn Large School District Superintendent Misty Slavic here next week. City Manager Jennifer Haynes will be here. Auburn Police Chief Matthew Androsco, and the two new executive directors. This is our first 3 that we will have, and we'll hopefully have 4 by the time this is all done. The new executive director of the YMCA, Scott Sinsabo, will be here, and the Cayuga County Tourism Director, Courtney Ray Casper, who there's a great story in today's Citizen about, will be here as well. We'd like to let you know that you can send us your questions or ideas for future guests. Not for the 2 forums that we'll be doing in a couple of weeks, but you can send them to cozguytho@aol.com. I'm Guy Cosentino for Cayuga Community College. Thank you for watching, and we will see you back here in the studio on Thursday.